You know that feeling when everything in your life is fine. No crisis, no conflict, nothing pushing back on you. You've got your routine, your comfort zone, your predictable days. And somewhere underneath it, there's this quiet unease. Like you're getting softer, not stronger. Like the ease itself is the problem. If you felt that, you're not imagining it. And a 19th century philosopher built an entire framework around exactly why that feeling is worth listening to. That philosopher is Friedrich Nietzsche. He was writing in the late 1800s, a time when European culture was becoming more comfortable, more secure, more focused on avoiding pain and maximizing ease. And Nietzsche looked at that trend and got genuinely alarmed by it, not because comfort is evil, but because he believed comfort, taken as the goal of life, quietly erodes the very thing that makes a life worth living. He wasn't a self-help writer. He was trying to answer a much bigger question. What actually makes a human being strong, vital, and capable of greatness? And what slowly kills that capacity without anyone noticing? His answer runs directly against how most of us are taught to think about a good life, and it's aged strangely well. Here's the foundation of it. Nietzsche didn't think of strength as something you either have or don't have. He thought of it as something built through resistance, through friction, difficulty, and struggle that you actually have to push against. He used the image of tension in a bow that isn't drawn back, that has no tension in it, can't fire an arrow anywhere. It just sits there. The tension isn't the enemy of the bow's purpose, it's the entire mechanism of it. And Nietzsche thought human beings work the same way. Our capacities, our will, our depth as people only get built under load. Remove the load, and you don't get a person at peace. You get a person who's quietly stopped developing. This is why he was so suspicious of what he called the pursuit of comfort as an end in itself. Not comfort as a temporary rest. He wasn't against rest, but comfort as the organizing goal of a life. He watched the culture around him start to optimize for the reduction of suffering, the smoothing out of hardship, the elimination of anything difficult. And his worry was that a life optimized this way produces what he called the last man, a figure who is safe, satisfied, and small, not cruel, not miserable, just diminished. Comfortable in a way that has quietly given up on becoming anything more. This connects to one of his most famous ideas, the one people usually shorthand as, "What doesn't kill you makes you stronger." That phrase gets thrown around so casually now that it's lost its teeth, but the actual reasoning behind it is more precise than the meme version. Nietzsche's point wasn't that suffering is automatically good for you. Plenty of suffering just breaks people. His point was that a person who has confronted real difficulty and worked through it, rather than avoided it, comes out with a kind of resilience and self-trust that a person who's been protected from difficulty simply doesn't have access to. It's not the suffering itself that builds you. It's what happens when you meet resistance and don't collapse or flee from it. The strength is forged in that specific encounter. He also talks about something he calls self-overcoming, the idea that a human being isn't a fixed thing, but a process, something that's always in the middle of becoming what it will be next. And that process only moves forward through a kind of internal conflict, the part of you that wants ease pulling against the part of you that wants to grow. Nietzsche thought a person who eliminates that internal tension, who always sides with the comfortable option, effectively stops the process of becoming. They're not evil. not failed. They've just settled. And settling, to Nietzsche, was its own quiet tragedy, because it meant giving up on the only thing he thought actually made life meaningful, the ongoing act of growing past your current self. There's a harder edge to this too, and it's worth sitting with instead of softening. Nietzsche believed most people are drawn toward comfort, not out of laziness exactly, but out of fear. Fear of failure. Fear of the version of themselves that might not measure up if they actually tried. Comfort becomes a hiding place. It lets you avoid ever finding out your limits because you never test them. And he thought that avoidance, over time, hollows a person out far more than failure ever could. Failure at least tells you something true. Permanent comfort tells you nothing. It just insulates you from the question.
Now bring this into your actual life, because this isn't just a 19th century abstraction. It shows up everywhere right now. Think about a job that's easy. Not badly paid, not miserable, just easy. No challenge, no stretch, nothing that demands anything new from you. It feels safe. But a year in, 2 years in, you notice you haven't actually developed. Your skills are the same, your confidence hasn't moved. That job gave you comfort, and comfort quietly billed you the cost of your own growth. Nietzsche would say, of course, there was no tension in the bow. Or think about relationships. There's a version of comfort in relationships that looks like never disagreeing, never being challenged, never having a partner push back on you or ask more of you. It feels peaceful. But a relationship with zero friction is often a relationship with zero real intimacy. Because intimacy requires two people willing to be honest, even when it's uncomfortable. The couples who actually grow together are usually the ones who've learned to sit inside some discomfort instead of avoiding it. Or think about the gym, about physical training, because Nietzsche's metaphor of tension is almost literal here. Nobody gets stronger by lifting a weight they can already lift with ease. The muscle grows specifically because you load it past its current comfort. Your body doesn't know the difference between comfort as laziness and comfort as safety. It only responds to demand. And Nietzsche thought your character works exactly the same way. Confidence isn't something you develop by protecting yourself from situations where you might fail. It's something you develop by walking into those situations anyway, enough times that you build actual evidence you can handle hard things. Even something as simple as a hard conversation you've been avoiding, with a friend, a parent, a boss, fits this. Avoiding it feels like comfort, but every time you avoid it, you're not neutral, you're shrinking. You're choosing the version of yourself that doesn't grow over the version that does. Now here's where people usually take this idea and run it into the ground. So let's correct it before you do the same thing. This is not permission to romanticize suffering, or to treat every hard, chaotic, or self-destructive situation as secretly good for you. Nietzsche was not arguing that pain is inherently noble, or that you should go looking for difficulty for its own sake. Some hardship just damages people. Chronic stress, abusive situations, burnout, none of that is tension in the bow. That's a bow being snapped. The distinction matters enormously. Nietzsche is talking about chosen resistance, difficulty you walk into with some agency, in service of becoming something, not difficulty inflicted on you that offers no path to growth at all. There's also a common misreading that turns this into a performance of toughness, never resting, never admitting when something is genuinely too much, treating comfort itself as weakness. That's not what this is either. Rest isn't the enemy here. Recovery isn't the enemy. The bow isn't drawn back 24 hours a day. It releases, it resets, and then it's drawn again. What Nietzsche is actually warning against is comfort as a permanent default. A life organized entirely around minimizing friction, where ease has become the goal instead of the occasional earned reprieve. So, if there's one sentence to carry out of this, comfort isn't the reward you get for growing. It's often the very thing that quietly stops you from growing at all. If this kind of thinking is useful to you, consider sticking around. This channel is built on ideas exactly like this one.